Say the flame to shout, make America great, tell them what it's about. Facts over feelings, cutting through the noise, fighting woke mobs and the kids with toys. They spew their lies, they spreading hate. Let's BS ain't gonna seal our fate. No nonsense here, just straight to the point. Truth to ammo in this battleground joint. Make America great again, stand and fight. Facts over feelings, day and night.
Hey, it's To The Point with Mike, Leo, and Vince.
Hey guys, we're starting the show off not muted.
Not muted.
Thank God.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mike, what's up, man? How you doing this evening?
Pretty good.
You
I'm
know?
excited for this episode 111.
111, man.
Right.
Who would say or be thinking when we started that we would be here at episode 111, man? Like 1111. Like how crazy is that?
Well, I think you added a few extra ones. But,
Probably, but you know,
where we started with just audio in the truck at
sure.
the pizza parlor to bumping
Where
it
we
up
at
to, some actual microphones and video and
for sure.
bringing other guys along with us.
And not just that, but it's just like the people that we've met throughout the whole journey or through the whole thing that we've done. Like constantly every week we're here, we're talking, we're speaking, we're telling people how we feel, what we think, what we see, what the real Americans, the real us human beings actually, are speaking our truth and telling people what we think and how we think, and it's some people don't like it. And some people, they give us an X, some people take us off, some people get it on and here and there, but we're here and I'm grateful. I'm glad.
So we usually, there's usually me, Leo, and Vince. Vince is taking the night off. He's got some work habits changing, so we're giving him the night to adjust. Hopefully he's in the comment section. But tonight we're going to have a special guest, Jordan Clark.
Sure.
So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about his story, his struggle, and his awakening, and get his opinion on some current events. Maybe take some questions for him. And just as a reminder, we are streaming live on the Patriots Prayer Network on Rumble, on X and Facebook and all that. And we're on our own pages also, but you can definitely subscribe to the Patriot Prayer on Rumble. It definitely helps the network out. There's a great lineup of other podcasts like Two Guys in One Coop, Raising Cain, who's got some breaking news coming in after us at 9 p.m. The Bearded Patriots or Patriot Confederation, Cowboys and Indians. There's a few great ones. So I see Truthful Trolls already in the comments. I don't know if Vince can hang. He's got to work early in the morning, so we're letting him get to bed early tonight. But a lot of headlines.
Hey,
we see a lot of damage.
A lot of good stuff going on.
We see a lot of stuff in the headlines, a lot of information Trump's releasing. I'm glad we've got Jordan tonight because show prep just would have been overwhelming. So, I mean, it's crazy if you haven't heard, but let's get to it. Let's run our network sponsor, shopwithamerica.us. And then when we come back on, we're going to bring on Jordan Clark. Sound good, Leo?
Yeah, sounds good. Can I tell you something real quick, though? I actually received my first box from Shop from America the other day. It's pretty cool, pretty neat stuff, in there and stuff like that. So if you guys do go on there and shop, it is fast shipping. You will receive it in 2 days. They are not kidding with you. And it's great stuff. So just go on there and check it out real quick. Go ahead, Mike.
Awesome. This is shopwithamerica.us.
Welcome to Shop with America, where the emphasis is on America. Our movement is to switch away from your shopping with the big box stores and the mega corporations back to supporting family-owned, made in America. We've been giving these big box stores our money every day for years. But what's happened is they forced many small businesses to shut down. We call this the illusion of choice. We see all these products in these stores, but in reality, it's only a few companies that control it all. There are thousands of lawsuits for health damage because they put profit over our people. But there is another choice. We found a better way. There's a family-owned American factory with product integrity and have always done things the right way for the right reasons. And this company outperforms the big box stores. That's due to their month-to-month shopping club. They make everyday consumer products that we all use and buy again and again, like toothpaste, shampoo, coffee, and organic beef. Go to shopwithamerica.us today.
All right, Leo, we're back. Let's jump right into it because Jordan's bringing with him a great audience from Instagram, and he's got a touching story that will, I believe, make you second guess what you've experienced in the last few years. So without further ado, Jordan Clark, How's it going?
What's
Thanks
up,
for joining
guys?
us tonight.
Hey, Jordan, thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. How y'all doing?
Doing great, doing great.
Good. Well, I'm excited to be here, so thank you for having me on.
No, thank you.
Jordan, I know you like to open shows with a prayer, and I think it's fitting since we're streaming live on the Patriots Prayer Network. Would you do the honor?
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Heavenly Father, just once again, thank you for bringing us together. We know that we're in a spiritual war. We know that the battlefield is insanely crazy right now. And I just ask that you continue to align your children, align us together with truth and revelation, give us your ultimate protection, and most of all, that supernatural healing that only you can provide. Father, we know the enemy is lost. We know the enemy has infiltrated himself on your earth. But in the end, you turn everything into good. And we know that at the end of this battle, at the end of this war, you have won. It's in Jesus' name that we pray, Father. Thank you and amen.
Amen. Well,
Thank you.
Jordan, I've seen you on TGI Now podcast. I've seen you on News Treason. I probably seen countless videos, and I just felt, your story is perfect for our audience. We don't usually do guests because there's three of us, we kind of pack in an hour with headlines, but I think it goes right in line with what we see today and what everyone's living. But tell us your experience with, I'll let you take it from, you tell it better. Sorry.
Absolutely, man. I'm guessing you're referring to heart failure.
Yes. Yeah.
That's as I told you earlier, that's it's a very long story, and I'm thankful because it's a testimony. And most of all, as I tell you this, God has a testimony within each and every one of us, right? Our job as believers is to tell that testimony. Or as I always say, your testimony could be someone's survival guide. So, to your viewers and anyone that's new, my heart failed. I guess it's going on almost 3 years, 2.5 years ago. I was 33 years old, and it would have been, I guess, early, January 2022, around there. It changed my life. I'm trying to think where to start, because like I told you, it's a very long story, but there's events that I always tell when I tell this story. And the reason I tell these events that led up to it is because we have so much chaos in this world and stress, and we don't realize what it's doing to our bodies, let alone our heart, right? Besides the chemicals and all the things that we see in the air, chemtrails and our food, all that stuff, stress is the ultimate killer, man. And this world that we live in is draining people and breaking people. And we get so wrapped up in everyday life that we don't think about, the most important thing, and that's God and his word and letting him be in control. So I'm going to go back and tell this story and just highlight a few things that led up to, my heart failing. First, I want to say this, that I have, obviously you'll hear this, but I am completely against any vaccines. I was never vaccinated. And I just put that out there because that's the number one question I get. Was he vaccinated? No. I'll just actually tell you right now that I don't like to say genetics, but I'd never had grandpas growing up. So they both died of heart attacks in their 60s. So I guess you could say it runs in my family. But go back, I'm a business owner, and you guys might have heard of Complete Nutrition, a large company. I was with them for a very long time, since 2009, and had my own franchise out in Sarasota, Florida. So in 2017, I got my franchise. I was living the life, had my own store, single, and about 6 months in, I get a phone call. My sister had passed away at the age of 24. And that was in 2017. And I'm sure you can imagine, you get a call like that. Life-changing. It was my only sibling. And, I went back and handled that and came back to, the most important thing at the time is a successful business, right? You got to be successful. We got, nothing else matters. And my family's in Nebraska. So I'm out in Florida doing my thing. And then I meet a girl. And again, I want to reinstate that I've always been a believer. I was thankful to grow up without parents that never told me which way to go. It was kind of just, I had to learn God and find God. And I was a believer. I didn't know him though in this process. Very important to know. So I meet a girl in my store and I fall in love with her. And as a lot of guys do, we think that's the one. And we build an empire thought for an hour, or it's not an hour, a year and a half. And one day she literally just up and leaves and has to go find herself and never talk to her again. That was life-changing for me because, obviously you think you found the one, but also you build an empire on the business side, and all of a sudden that crashes down. And right after she left, the following days, I tried to take my life 3 times by suicide and overdosing. Didn't work. So in this process of my sister and this happening, I'm blaming God, as we all do, right? Why God? Why are you doing this? God, why are you doing that? It's always God. It's always God, right?
Yeah, right.
In reality, it's always the enemy. It's not God. So that happens. Fast forward a little bit. That's in 2019. And I think you know where I'm going next with 2020. The pandemic hits, and business owners obviously took a hit. And I happened to be in primetime Sarasota, Florida, in the highest retail, pretty much in the nation, center. And my overhead was like $35,000 a month.
Oh.
And I remember I was next to these other stores, like, the massive ones, Target, shopping centers, Chipotle, and the pandemic hits, and literally it was a ghost town. And of course, I stay open. I'm like, you're gonna have to come take me out of here. I got bills, man. Like, there's obviously a bunch of fake stuff going on. And right here, I'll go back to this, but this is where I really got my awakening. And I'll tell you how that happened. But so the pandemic hits, and man, if you guys can just think of the anxiety and the stress, being a single business owner, the whole losing a sister, love of my life, I'm blaming God, and now I'm like going to tank. So I'm trying to think, how can I go forward in life and get out of this lease? And so I find this company that I was awesome friends with the owners, called Surge. And I invested pretty much my savings into this company. My accountant called, and if you remember back then, we could get out of our lease, and there was that Trump no eviction policy. Yeah. So I'm like, well, that's genius. I'm going to invest. I think it was right around 70, 80 grand to these guys. I'm going to go move and get a redo, a fresh start. I'm going to move to Utah, 36 hours, and build another company. And this is going to be great. Well, pretty much get out of my store, you can imagine. And I wire this money to them. I travel to Utah, and they don't even have an office. Pretty much, sorry, man, we don't need you. So now I'm in the mountains of Utah.
It's another stab.
Yeah, oh, dude. I'm sitting here like blaming God, and I have a year lease on an apartment in the mountains. And so I made a makeshift Complete Nutrition in my living room. And that's all I knew to do to make money and, keep helping my customers. So I'm there for a year riding this out. And the whole time I'm blaming God, and then my heart's just taking a beating, man. And I didn't know it, And finally the year comes up, and I had a great customer at the time who and is like now my best friend. And her and her husband came to help me move. And I said, listen, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to go back to Florida, and you guys are in Texas. So along the way, I'll just drop you off. Cool. She's like, oh, okay, that's perfect. So we make our little endeavor, and I'm in Texas, and they're in Lubbock, Texas there, and they own the FedEx routes out there. And I was getting like super overcharged on my U-Haul. So they're like, well, just unload your stuff, and then we'll get you hooked up with another trailer, and take a couple days to figure out where you want to go. You know how this goes, right? Like,
Right.
So I get, a little comfy there, trying to figure out where I want to go. And next thing you know, boom, my heart starts to fail. So it wasn't, a lot of people think it was like a heart attack, and thankfully it wasn't. I had non-ischemic cardiomyopathy. So pretty much all 4 chambers just slowly stopped working. And one day I was tanning. Don't say anything. I was tanning, and I got up out of the tanning bed and fainted for like 30 seconds because, at the time I didn't know what was going on, but there was lack of oxygen obviously being carried to my brain. So I knew something was wrong, and then I started holding water. And guys, I'm not joking when I tell you this. I had 24 pounds of water weight in 48 hours.
Wow.
So imagine a 25-pound dumbbell around your lower midsection.
That's not
Within
good.
24 hours.
Well, I'm in fitness, and that don't fly. Like one ounce, we notice. So I'm like, I gotta go to the doctor. My thyroid's messed up. Something's not good. So I fly to my first doctor, the PCP, and he didn't even help me. Like I'm not saying this in a bad way. Like he was like, dude, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just got you like fast tracked to the ER. Don't even have to wait. I already got you in, and I'm like, okay, something ain't right, but
Right.
we'll head over. So you guys remember back then, like the ERs were completely full.
Packed.
Yep.
All
Massive.
covered up like this. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was a zoo. I
That's
remember
like the
going.
first question they asked you.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been preaching against this stuff. Like, what is going on? So I go in, and this is the first ER, and I'm in the ER room. They obviously put you through like a million tests. Don't even tell you what they're doing, scans, etc. And I'm just in my head. I'm like, they're racking up a bill.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking.
Right. And so I remember this little arrogant doctor comes back in, and he walks into the room, turns off the TV, all serious with his nurse, and says, well, Mr. Clark, you have non-ischemic cardiomyopathy and severe heart failure.
Ooh.
And then that moment, like, I'm sure if anybody that has a diagnosis, I didn't know what to think. I just knew my life was going to change.
Right.
And Tiff, my friend, I'm looking over her, she starts bawling. So I'm guessing she had a little more of an idea. But I'm all hooked up, EKGs, and I'm like, okay, gotcha. And he goes, first thing out of everything, we're not going to drain the water or anything off of you, but it looks like you might have some signs of COVID.
What?
Of course. Everything was a sign of COVID.
They got water and it's a sign of COVID?
Well, yeah. I mean, you just told me my heart's not working. That's a sign of COVID, I guess. And I didn't have a temperature. I didn't have like I said, no fever, no coughing, no nothing. And guys, again, I'm completely against this, and I'll explain my awakening in 19 to Q and all the information. But I told him, I said, dude, I'm not doing a test. If you guys know what happened with the test, they were 50-50 false positives, meaning they were already preloaded. And people don't know that there's shards in them. So they're actually designed to open up your nasal cavity, and they will give you,
Yeah.
So
Already impugn your immune system. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing was to get people sick by opening up their, making them with the shards, cutting them up inside, and then hoping the flu gets in there.
Right. Easier to get an infection or whatever. COVID.
Right.
So
I completely told him, sorry, dude, like it's not happening. And he was madder than a hornet, man. He walks out, and he left me in there for probably 2.5 hours, EKGs, water weight, and nurse comes back in and tosses a clipboard on my chest and says, all right, Mr. Clark, you're good to go. What? Okay. And she said, you went against our medical advice, so there's really not much we can do.
Medical advice.
Yeah.
What advice? I mean, I'm here for one thing, and you're trying to treat me for something else.
Yeah. Well, that's when it hit me, man. Like, it got real.
Right.
Like, wow. Like, okay. And you got to think, like, at this point, man, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm blaming God. Like, we go to these places for help.
Right. Yeah.
And now, like, everything I researched and everything that I, had seen and when I was waking up and doing the rabbit holes is real. I'm living it. So we leave that night, and Tiff and her husband, they have a house there, and they had a room I was staying in. And I remember that night I thought I was going to die, man. I couldn't breathe. And Tiff was on her knees praying I thought when I closed my eyes that night, I wouldn't get back up. And she's rubbing my shoulder. I'll never forget. I was praying, and she's like, you're going to the hospital in the morning. There's another one. And I said, no, I'm not. I don't even want to know how much this costs. And I just got kicked out of the ER. Like, no, I'm a patriot, not going.
Right.
She's like, well, if you want to stay under this roof, you're going. I said, okay. All right. I don't want to, be out my truck, I guess. So,
Right.
and at the same time, guys, you got to think, like I was expecting and ready for a heart attack. That was the next thing. And I didn't know where that was going to happen.
It's a
I didn't
ticking
want to
bomb.
die. Yeah, I didn't want to die in my friend's house. My heart at the time was working at literally 8%, 8 to 10% at this point. Probably a little higher as it went down as the couple of days went by. So
What is our heart normally? What is a regular heart normally working at?
great question. Thank you. So your ejection fraction, and normal ejection fraction is usually anywhere from like 65, 70 to 80.
For what age?
That's like I would say like up to like 40s, 50s. As you get older, obviously it's going down.
Right.
It just depends on the person's health.
Right.
But the average person is probably around 60, 70%. You don't want to be at 100. That means it's overworking. So the ejection fraction, pretty much in layman's terms, is how it's pumping.
Right.
Right. Okay. So mine's at like 12%.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't breathe. I still have all this water weight. So the next morning we get to this other ER, guys, filled, packed room. I go at 9 a.m. and they get me in, but they kind of were tricky about this one. So they said, they did all their tests and they said, well, since you declined a COVID test, I needed an echocardiogram. If you guys know what that is, it's like the ultrasound for your heart.
For heart, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously what's going on at this time? Myocarditis, the jab is screwing people's hearts up. The echo line is through the roof for cardiologists. So they said, since you declined our recommendation for the COVID test, you're going to be last in line.
Seriously. Come on.
So I'm like, okay. And they're like, we're looking at probably 12, 13-hour wait. And, I said, well, cool. It's like kind of like a restaurant. Just send me a text. Let me know when to come back. My table's ready.
Give me a
Right?
buzzer.
Yeah, no, Mr. Clark. We have to keep you here and monitor you. It'll be overnight. Oh, wow.
Cha-ching,
I'm like, man,
cha-ching,
I'm not
cha-ching.
an ultra salesman, but I've been in sales. They're pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're just finding ways to keep you in that hospital, to keep charging you more, and just.
Well, who knows what they were going to put me on too, man?
Yeah.
And, at the
We're gonna
time,
make you wait here, and if you weren't sick, we're gonna make you even sicker
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
having you stay here. Oh yeah,
Exactly.
everything's a plan. Everything that they were doing back then was a set plan. It was just everything was falling in their plans, and if you weren't,
Somebody's plan.
yeah, and somebody's plan, and if you weren't in that plan, like your story, it's just it's next.
Yeah.
Sorry, next. Get out of here.
no, you're absolutely. I'll get to that point too. Actually, like I said, I know this is a long story, but so anyway, we get out of there, and that night I was done, guys. Like at that point, man, so it ended up being like over $50,000 bills for each of them. So at that point, I'm like, I'm done. And there was one last chance, and there was a Lubbock Heart Hospital, which is obviously we're looking at pricey stuff, strictly a heart hospital out there. And so we, a long story short, I'm gonna skip some stuff, but we the next day, my liver was going out, my kidney was going out, like kidneys were shot. And what's wild is I stopped drinking in 2019 after a New Year's resolution. And that ended up being a part of saving my life, because the doctor said had I been a drinker or kept drinking, my liver probably wouldn't have made it.
Wow.
So we get to that Lubbock Heart Hospital. I get into the ER. They admit me. Finally, we had obviously a lot of proof of heart failure. And that's when they actually drained the water.
After the third hospital you've been to, they finally decided to drain the water.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, I got to tell you this. In between the second and the third hospital, I was done and I was ready to give up. And I wanted to die. And I didn't want to die, but if I was going to die, I wanted to die in the gym. Right? Like that's my safe place. Again, I'm living with a family that I just met. I don't want to die in front of their kids.
Yeah.
People don't think about this, man. Like,
No.
what's going through my head is I have to deal with this for the rest of my life. What if I'm driving and I have a heart attack and swerve and hit a family head on?
Yeah.
Like that's the stuff that goes through your head.
Yeah.
So I went to the gym in between the second and third hospital, not to do anything, but to sit there. You guys know who CT Fletcher is? Big black bodybuilder.
Yes. Yeah.
Black bodybuilder. He's had like 4 heart transplants.
Yeah.
So he said it best, like I'm going to die, on my bench doing what I love. But, so I'm there and there's this kid, Austin. This is how God works. There's this kid, Austin. He's 18 years old. He's like, hey man, I've been seeing your stories. And, for what it's worth, there's a lady in Florida that left the hospitals for everything you're talking about. And she works from home. And I'm like, dude, what is she going to do? I just got kicked out of 2 hospitals. But the Holy Spirit filled me up and was like, make the call, go make the call. So I go out to my truck. I'm like, hey, Don, this is Jordan. I have so-and-so, so-and-so. She's like, Jordan, just relax. Is it the Walgreens on 98th and something? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, okay, I'm going to send you Lasix, which is water, get the water off finally. an antibiotic, and I'm going to get you a beta blocker and something else. And that should get you by for about at least a month, but I can't help you after that.
Right.
And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And she said those people that were obviously kicking you out of the ERs, those doctors, they were making about $400 for every test and $800 for every vaccine.
Wow. Oh yeah.
39,000 for every death.
So of course you walked into one of those places and they're going to make money off of you regardless.
Well,
Yeah.
so I'm obviously not liked by them, but can you, in my head, I'm thinking about how many people in here are truly getting unalived because they believe in doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like Eddie said, Eddie is one of the co-creators of the network. He commented earlier and said the WHO and the AMA have a stranglehold on the medical community, and doctors don't think for themselves. They're just trained. They're in a program.
Right. Yeah. So I'll get to the end here. So we get to this is where I really found God, y'all. So I'm in that third hospital and I get settled in, and it really hit me. I used to have 850,000 followers on TikTok. Man, I used to do so much with PTSD awareness and giving back. And, I bring this up because I'm blaming God the whole time. And in this process, man, when my sister passed away, my family and I don't know, something happened and we stopped talking. So from 2017, I didn't have a word with my mom or my dad at all. So I'm in this, think of everything I just told you. I'm in this ride alone, blaming God. And I'm honestly done. Like,
right.
Why am I here, God? Like, what is the point of this? I'm going to be 33 now, living on medications, and I can't even work. They told me I could never work out again. They told me I would have to sleep during the day because you can't sleep at night with heart failure because of the pressure from the water retention and stuff on your lungs.
Wow.
So I'm like, hold on. Well, I'm 33. I'm a fitness guru, and I'm going to sleep during the day.
Right.
I'm a businessman. Like, what? You're out of your mind, doc. So anyway, that first night, I'll never forget, 9:03, little TV. I'm by myself, and no one even knows I'm dying. No one, except my friends.
Yep.
Right. And it hits you, man. It hits you. And I laid there, man, and I sat there, and I just started crying, man. And I was like, God, obviously, I've done everything my way, and it's not working. I said, give me one more chance, because the enemy was ready, man. The enemy was ready to take me out right there. And I said, God, I'm not going to go out this way. I need you. And give me one more chance, and I will do everything I can to follow your path, whatever it is. And what I'm trying to help people understand is how often do we just try to do things on our own?
Yeah.
And the whole time it felt like I was forcing things to happen. If you look back on what I told you, the things that were taking a toll on my heart, the enemy loved it.
Right. Yeah.
And I always tell people, it's kind of like God's sitting right back here. I'm not laughing, but like, hey, are you done yet? Like, tag team, let me know when you're ready. I'll come in and destroy this guy. But, if you don't surrender and call out to me, I can't help you with the relationship, right? So I was laying there. I just said, God, help me. And, that's when everything changed. That next morning, I had an angiogram, which is where they check your valves. And I went under, and I remember giving me the anesthesia. And it was like I was gone for eternity in the most peaceful place. And then I came back, and I guess I was a little like funny, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Saying some things, I don't know, a little wild. But, guys, that's when my perspective changed, as in like, how am I going to make money? Oh my gosh, my businesses. Like no one even I got to update my social media. Like everything just kind of changed, man. And it's crazy. I always tell people that I didn't physically change. The enemy lost.
Right.
So I didn't physically change. The enemy lost. I gave my life to God. And my mom came. So in this process, I called my mom. I was like, hey, I'm dying. Probably should come. And she flew down from Nebraska, and she was there. And then, my friends were obviously there for support. And we finally got a cardiologist in like 3 days. And he walks in. He's like, hey, man, you're 33 and you don't have insurance. I said, yeah, no, I'm completely against that too, doc. There's not much I'm not, against in your line of work. I said, it's cheaper for me not to have insurance than it is to have insurance. And he's like, well, Jordan, your heart's condition, you have about a year at this rate, and you need a transplant. I said, okay. Well, he goes, obviously it's a 3-year wait right now with everything going on for a transplant. And here's the catch, guys. Like, in order to be on that list, you got to have insurance, Obamacare, Medicaid. In order to get that, you got to have the jab.
Yeah.
He said. So I'm like, well, doc, things aren't really adding up here. I have 1 year, you say, and 3-year waiting list. I said, and I don't have insurance. So and he goes, well, it's $1.4 million cash. I said, I definitely don't have that. So, I guess welcome to America. So it's mind boggling to think about. I said, I don't know if you're religious or not, but I'm going to probably have to find a church and just start praying. So I literally walked into Trinity Church there in Lubbock and was kind of stable, but I remember I just sat in the back row. And before I left the hospital, finally, he told me that I have to be on medications for the rest of my life. There's 4 of them, and they're the heart working miracle pills that you see on TV: Eliquis, Entresto, a beta blocker, Lasix. And I said, in my head, I'm thinking, I hate medications, but I guess I got to try it, right? Because I was informed that the heart's the only muscle we have that cannot heal itself. So I'm like, well, how the heck is this going to work? Well, I guess all of a sudden these medications are going to heal me. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'll go pick him up. And he's like, yeah, so with insurance, they're about $2,000, $2,100 a month. With insurance.
Crazy. With insurance.
Rest of my life.
With insurance. But you didn't have insurance.
So first of all, I'm like, here's the catch, guys. Here's why I bring this up. I said, I ain't got that money, brother. Like, and I'm not doing that every month. Oh, no. We got you. We got a lot of reps that come by and we'll get you hooked up. Forever. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I'll try for a month or 2. Guys, I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't remember these 2 months of my life. I do not remember these 2 months. I literally wrecked my truck twice.
Wow.
Totaled. Like, and I got out and talked to the police officer coherently. I don't remember any of it. So it lowered my blood pressure so low, made me a zombie. And I mentally, as a 33-year-old, was trying to function with blood pressure. Like, not good, man. So anyway, what's wild is after the first month, we go back in for an echo. 8% hasn't changed. Go back in the next month, same thing. So finally, I'm like, man, I've been in fitness all my life. I've been in health. I know how to do this. And it's very scary, fellas. That's where everyone right now on medications gets to this point. What if I stop? That's where they get you. The fear, right? Put the fear of God in you. Yeah. So I got my mom and my friend there. And after the second month, I said, Doc, listen, this ain't working. Well, if you stop them, you could die. Well, clearly, obviously. And if I take him, I could die. So I said, listen, I'm going to be done. And when I always tell this part of the story, I want everyone to know it's a mindset. And you have to firmly be ready to make that shift. As in, the minute I leave here, like I told my mom, you're either on my team or you're not. There's no questioning whether those medications should have been taken or not. Because as a mother, what is she going to do? They need that reassurance of he's on the medications, he'll be okay.
Right.
But when I told the doctor I'm done, well, Jordan, no, he'll die. No, listen, we're going to find out how God really works. So I left and I told Doc, I said, listen, I'll come back in a month or 2 and we'll do another echo. By the way, just to have your heart checked, it costs like $2,000. You can't do that without $1,500 or $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to have my heart checked. So I went back in, man. We had like 2 or 3 more echoes, and I just started eating like I knew how to, super healthy, slowly 5-pound weights, walking. And we went back in for the first one, 12%. The next one, 24%. Next one, 48%. And after that last one, I told the doctor, I appreciate it. And best of luck to you moving forward. And his last words were, oh, I follow you on TikTok. I follow you on TikTok. I wonder why, Doc.
Yeah, I wonder.
Why would you follow me? What would you be so concerned about?
Yep.
Exposure?
Yeah.
Oh, fellas, that's the
Scary.
yeah.
Happening here in America.
That's the awakening for you,
in
right?
America.
Well, it hurts me because I sit here and I tell this. And I know how many people right now are still facing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
How many people have lost people?
Yeah.
And I want to go. I just want to say this. Go back to my awakening in 2000. Go ahead, actually, Mike. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It was weird because the community we live in, I'm sorry if it's too loud, but the community we live in, it's a healthcare community. It's a retirement community, and that's what you saw. I mean, you saw the same thing here. Cleveland Clinic is the big hospital in our area, and I'm not sure if they took it over just before COVID or just after, but it was just a bloody freaking mess. You know, if you had to go to a hospital, it was just like the rumors weren't conspiracies. They were looking for reasons to put people on ventilators because they got paid. And every test they got paid, every positive they got paid, every ventilator, every hospital bed, every night, you know. And unfortunately, I've lost loved ones during the pandemic, and I chalk it up to bad healthcare, you know, because you didn't see that before.
Right.
What were you going to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, so I've been I don't truly understand God still sometimes. That's okay. Obviously he had a plan, but I had my best friend, Jay Nelson. He was an elite Army Ranger intel. And Jay he's one of a kind, man. I actually think he's still alive. But anyway, in 2018, Jay, 6 months before he passed, sent me a message, just a text like, hey, keep these sources, these links. I'm like, okay, man. Look, I remember I'm living the life. I got my girlfriend at the time. And so anyway, 6 months later, he passes away. And it was the weirdest thing, like no funeral, just an obituary picture of him in Tennessee. And this guy's 45, fit, obviously, and dies of pneumonia. So Jay gives me these sources. And remember when the COVID whole thing started, my store got really slow, like 30 customers a day to one.
Right.
That gave me a lot of time. So something drew me to his messages, and I opened the sources, and that's when I got started in this with Fall of the Cabal, Out of the Shadows, X-22 report when it was on his actual website, Dave. So I was hooked. Like, you can't explain it. Like, every night I would have to watch X-22 report, 45 minutes every report. And it gave me hope, man. Like, it told the truth about what was going on. And then you go out in the real world and you're like, oh, wow. Yeah, this is actually happening.
We're living it.
That information and that confirmation led me to the decisions I made in the hospital of go kick rocks.
Yeah.
Had I not done all that, what happens? They're good salesmen. Who knows? They might have gave me a test.
Yeah.
You know?
We were pretty fortunate. We both work in big box retail industry, and all through the pandemic or scamdemic or plandemic, whatever you want to classify it.
It's all the same.
But we saw it. We saw the mask mandates come through. Luckily enough, we didn't see any vaccine mandates because we're here in Florida. So we had a little bit of sense of freedom, but at the same time, you know, it was like the lingering fear of any day now from HO. You know, you're going to get the word that everybody's got to get the jab or whatever, you know, and it's all, there was different protocol if you got sick, if you had the jab or if you didn't, you know, and this and that. It was just, well, we saw doctors leave the industry and go into political positions.
Oh yeah,
that they drew a line in the sand, and they just said enough was enough.
Well, you either have a soul or you don't. It's simple. I mean, that's and that's what's happening right now is God's wrath. People are going to pay, and it's not our job to go get revenge. But you know, I want to get to some other stuff. It's already 8:40. You know, big pharma is one of those things, guys. Just I want to say, follow your intuition and listen to God's discernment with all of it. Might sound cliche, but I promise you this, that God made you, and he did not think about how big pharma would be the savior for you in situations. I promise you that. He didn't think about how, oh, well, I got to give these guys some pills to help with their diabetes and all this other stuff. There's a way of healing. And like I said, it starts with your mindset. It starts with, I'm going to do this. It really does. Like the
Yeah.
body can heal itself. It can.
You know, they give you
So-
all these pills that are supposed to heal you, but it's like, how long am I going to take these pills until I'm already healed? So that I can
Forever.
stop
Then you
pills?
need another pill to deal with
You know, like,
side
it makes
effects from
no-
the first pills
right,
that are
like-
keeping you
Well,
alive.
let's really red pill some people, man.
You
The
know,
cure
it's
for
just-
cancer has been out for so long. The cure for cancer: hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, methylene blue, fembendazole, membendazole. Your local tractor supply could have saved your life, but that's the cabal system we deal with.
Yeah, it's just
Yep.
So,
I mean, speaking of all that, with I mean, the headlines with all these files and stuff like that. If you want to, I don't know if you want to touch on anything more on that story, or if you want to get into how that translates to what we've been seeing since Trump got back in. All these file dumps. You know,
well,
we
Trump
kinda
never
keep-
left. So
What's that?
Trump never left.
Right. I'm you know what? I saw one of your videos and I was talking to the phone because we are on the same page there. And as far as the continuity of government, I don't believe Trump ever left commander in chief. Right. It's all about the dash.
yeah.
It's an operation.
Yep. It's all about the dash. There's nothing in between. Yep. And you know, and they say Biden was the president of the corporation, but Trump stayed commander in chief. And that's another area where I'm really interested in is your take on the Space Force, and you know, to people in their 40s, and it's like kind of wow, like we just snapped our fingers and have a Space Force. What was
Yeah.
the purpose for that, do you think, in Trump's plan? And how does that tie into that continuity of government?
So, it says, people just need to understand that the Q operation has been happening. I don't care if you guys accept it or not. It's something that's very bluntly obvious at this point. If you know the Q board, you know the Q Intel board, and you know that Q is an operation of 10 people that we know of, along with Trump and the military, a military that you know absolutely nothing about. Again, I've had very, very fortunate friends, including a colonel who's a Vietnam vet, who has reassured that to me 2 years ago in Utah. I said, Colonel, I heard there's a military in camo and another one in Black Ops, you know, like the game. And he's like, I said, there's two or something, right? And Colonel would say, you're a smart man, Jordan, but you know, he never would tell me, but I'm a smart man. So anyway, this operation's been happening. And the reason we don't really recognize it, from my understanding and belief, is because we were born into it. It's been going on for so long. When people really understand this world we live in, and the fact that we have been infiltrated for over 100 years, 100 years, there's no one alive that can go back and remember when the Vatican or, you know, the 13 families that run the world came in and infiltrated and created the Federal Reserve and created their own banking system and overthrew the U.S. corporation, or excuse me, the United States for America, the Constitution that our founding fathers gave us. That's all been peed on and changed with very little wording. And so everyone right now watching has lived under two Americas. You've lived under the corporation, you've lived under the common law republic. Well, the problem is that doesn't work very well. And one, we are born, and last I knew, if you go back to when we were in school, we said the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this isn't obvious to people, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, right? I don't know how people got so lost in this, but we are common law. We're not under a corporation with maritime law, which is the law of the sea. That's what this has been. And they are all fraudulent. So these cabal people came and infiltrated themselves into our country, installed their own people over the years into Congress, into the government, created the Federal Reserve slave system, right? You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
okay. So they create the Federal Reserve slave system, and then they create these three-letter alphabet agencies, not to help, but they knew that if the people ever found out what they were doing with the Federal Reserve and the money and how they stole all the gold, they knew we are patriots and we have a Second Amendment. We also have the First Amendment. And so they said, well, we got to create like some 3-letter agencies to protect us from these people. And that way they never find out. So really the 3-letter agencies, your FBI, your, IRS, CIA, all of them were agencies to come after you and protect them. And finally, guess what you're seeing? All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. And they have stolen all of our money, all of our wealth. They have used you as commerce behind closed doors. When you're born, you are stamped and you're given a birth certificate along with a social security number. Has anyone ever realized that your social security number is the same amount of digits as a bank account?
Yep. It's also on your driver license too. The last 4 or 3 digits from your social security is also on your driver license.
Right. You actually are born with a lot of wealth. Yes. Thank you. We can get into that. If you want to think of what Revelation, the mark of the beast, people might want to look into the last 100 years, because last I knew, if you were a part of the system, or if you weren't a part of their system, you couldn't buy or sell, could you?
No.
That's crazy. And also Revelation happens to talk about a beast from the sea. Well, what is maritime law? Law of the sea.
Yep.
I'll leave that out there for some breadcrumbs for y'all. But everyone wants to talk about how the new system coming is Elon and the mark of the beast. And, that you can say that all you want, but my question for you, if that's what this is coming, is the mark of the beast and the end of the world, explain to me what the New World Order of 2030 was in the last 100 years of literally slavery, with sex trafficking and children missing. So I don't know. Usually when I ask them that, they have no intel on the Cube Order or the operation that's going on. They just know about the Bible, which is fantastic. But again, doesn't the Bible say that we will never know the true time when Jesus is coming back, and we should know the season?
Yeah.
But man, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. So let's go back real quick to the Space Force. Now that everyone understands we're infiltrated, we have nothing but fraud agencies, and we have a debt that can never be paid. And finally, you go to 2017, and every election, I truly believe that every election has been so rigged. We haven't had a president. You'll see Trump, he always has Abe Lincoln kind of in the back.
Yeah.
I think he's saying that we have not had a legit election since Abe Lincoln. Every person that's got in, obviously who's tried to change their slave system, including those around the world, leaders, has been shot or killed.
Yeah.
Right. So in 2017, the Q operation and the military knew, like, if Hillary got in, they had a 16-year plan, 8 years of Obama, 8 years of Hillary. You guys know the plan?
Enlighten us.
Okay. So we'd all be dead. But the plan was they would have had, and it will sound familiar, they would have had World War III by now, and they would have had us all in FEMA camps. There's 27 FEMA camps plus more all throughout the country. I think there was 40 that just got shut down or something. 40 FEMA camps. Do y'all remember the pictures of the coffins?
Yeah.
The plastic coffins that went viral?
Yep.
Okay, those were everywhere outside the FEMA camps, ready for us.
Those old shut down Walmarts and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then Obama got the guillotines passed. Yep. So the guillotines were all ready to be launched. My friends, this is not a joke. You can look it up. And then there's much more to their 2030 New World Order, but they knew this was happening. We have good guys working in the back, and trust me, as bad as these people are, we have good guys that are a lot smarter. So they knew they had to get Trump in there. Trump was chosen to do this. And
who chose him?
The military, the military operation.
Gotcha. Like admirals and generals that were at war with the deep state.
Correct.
With the corporation. Yeah.
Yes. Way behind the scenes. People, obviously, again, people knew what was going on 60, 70 years ago. And you have to imagine, someone would say, hey, we got a problem here. And so we had people fighting it, and we have a military that has been fighting it. And Trump was chosen in 2017 to get in there, and they knew how to, get Hillary out. They had to. We'd be dead. So there's no choice. Obviously, we have a rigged system, and that's going to come out and be exposed. But as rigged as it is, they can play the same game of chess.
Yeah.
So this is a operation to save the world. Trump is not the savior. Again, I'm going to say this for everyone watching. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Trump is my president. Don't get it twisted. I get that a lot, and it's frustrating. So Trump came in, and obviously we know what happened in his first term. He showed everybody. Okay. I'll never forget going to 2018, listening. I was actually in a LA Fitness when he talked about launching Space Force. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Like, man, like we got a sixth branch or whatever, fifth branch of the military, and no one even really paid attention.
No.
Right.
So
Something
my friends,
was very weird about that.
right.
I feel like it's a bigger deal than it was made out to be.
So Space Force, I know we're lacking time, collected all the evidence. So Space Force collected all the evidence. Let me reassure you this. Elon Musk did not go from owning PayPal to creating a space agency. Doesn't happen.
No.
He was selected like their other ones, like Gates
Correct.
and Jobs and stuff like that. They just
Well,
didn't.
with the White Hats.
Yeah, and Bezos, like, how do you all of a sudden
Well,
you're sending
hold
people
on.
to outer space
This thing-
after a bookstore?
Right. Bad people, good people, though. Very important.
Right, definitely. Yes,
Right.
that's I feel the war that we don't see out in the public behind the scenes are those bad
Right.
people and good people that are selected to fight
Right.
that.
Yeah. So these people are installed to create things. Again, the cabal creates them. They find people to put them in there. Again, if they can do it, the good guys can do it. So the White Hats, all of a sudden we have SpaceX now. And if you want my firm belief, we're all biblical. Earth is not a globe. Space is obviously becoming pretty fake if you haven't seen the recent stuff they're putting out there with those astronauts. But I firmly believe that SpaceX was created to bring in the exposure of NASA. And crazily enough, if that's a word, crazy enough, NASA is now shutting down their location and their offices in DC.
Mm.
So I believe SpaceX came to expose the fraudulent NASA. That's probably the biggest money laundering thing in the world. Wait till that comes out. And Space Force, when Trump in the military, and they repeat this over and over again, that they have it all. Let me reassure you, they have everything. They have monitored at the highest military intelligence clearance everything that's happened. Everything. So this all happened back in the last 4 to 8 years. It's all done.
Yeah.
We're in the exposure phase now. So now people need to stop asking, when do we see arrest? Or where's the arrest? Why aren't people being arrested? What you need to ask is, when is the footage going to be shown of the arrest? It's already done. It's only a matter of time before you see the tribunals. But this pill has to be easy to swallow.
Yeah.
As in the Epstein files, no one's ready for that. Right. So now Trump and the military are saying, okay, let's leak a little bit out, JFK files. That'll get the older generation, right? Now they're going to start waking up a little bit. Yep, let's talk. I remember that I was alive then. Okay, well, now what came out today?
Yeah.
What came out today, right?
Yeah, our network we have some breaking news at 9:00 on the
Breaking.
Raising Cain show with some documents that weren't released with the original batch of JFK files from some insiders. I can play a video. Let me play this.
Are you talking about what I told you just happened?
Let me play what our network creator sent me. Do you mind?
No, it's like 2 hours ago, right?
This is actually just got sent to me. Hold on one second.
Eddie here
Okay.
from the Patriot Prayer Network. And we're going to drop a bomb tonight, guys. And what I mean is this. You thought you got all of the JFK files. We thought we knew everything there was to know. The government released it all, right? Wrong. Nate Cain was contacted by a source who gave him some documents detailing something called Operation Zipper. And this was used to assassinate John F. Kennedy. So if you think you know the whole story, guess again. You're going to hear it here tonight on Patriot Prayer Network. And you are going to hear it here first on the Raising Cain show at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Pacific time. Tune in. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what they're. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm interested too.
We'll see.
I know we're running close on time, but I do want. How do I do a share screen?
On your end, I'm not sure. Maybe under present, do you have a present button on the bottom of your screen?
Let me know if it works.
Yeah, I see. Yep. I can
It
add
worked?
that to the stage.
What's that?
Yep. There you go.
So this is huge, my friends. This just came out. If we go over here to trending, you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay, go to news. So this happened just before I called you. One issues election integrity executive order, but what is this right here? Declassify all the FBI documents on the Russia probe. Russia. Holy smokes. Adam Schiff is about to pee his pants. Let me play a little bit real quick.
Investigation.
Sure.
Next, sir, we have a presidential memorandum for your attention. This memorandum requires the immediate declassification of all FBI files relating to the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. This was obviously one of the instances of the weaponization of law enforcement powers of prosecution against you and others. We believe that it's long past time for the American people to have a full and complete understanding of what exactly is in those files.
Which gives the media the right to go in and check it. You probably won't bother because you're not going to like what you see.
Wow.
But this was total weaponization. It's
My friend, this
disgrace.
is
It never happened in
massive.
this country.
The only other thing I was going to say real quick, just happened right an hour before that was how big this is right here. The Treasury, wherever it went, you guys can look this up later, but there's something to do with him pretty much. Where'd that go? It was so important, man. It was something to do with pretty much getting rid of the notes in the Treasury, the checks. Yeah. So I don't know where it went right here. That's GameStop. Anyways, so
Crypto friendly, right?
oh, dude, huge. Yeah. So that's what I was trying to find it. That's what he was saying is now we're going to a bigger, better, more reliable system than the Treasury using banknotes and checks, which we know are fraudulent. It just happened 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have any predictions for the next election? If there is a next election?
man, dude, that's what we've been talking about in my lives is this is so hard to wrap my head around because once 2020 gets exposed, that's a whole new ballgame. Like if we're going by the corporation, but I don't think it'll be that. People are going to realize that. So Trump really has just been a commander in chief. He hasn't been a president. Under continuity of government, the military operation, he is commander in chief. There has been no president for the last 4 to 8 years. So that's 4 years for sure since he left office. We are at war, and he has made executive orders stating that he's a wartime president. I can pull them up. And obviously, the last 4 years was to expose their plan, Biden. And now he came back into the picture in the inauguration, recently. But this is to show the people, hey, this is what's going on. This is how it's supposed to be. We're going back to the republic. We're going to have our laws, and we're going to bring wealth back to America with tariffs that made our country very rich. We're going to implement a new system that's decentralized and controlled by the people. And we're going to have freedom again, man.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a new healthcare. And yeah.
Do you think while he wasn't in the White House, do you think the military in his favor or our favor was keeping us out of World War III provoked by the Biden administration or players in it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, they have been go back to 2017 and look up the article that stated troops are preparing and learning or training for underground tunnel missions. So all these people that you see, they're gone. Or they're in Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay. That's why that's coming out. Yeah. So the military has eliminated all these people. Trust me, if the border thing was real, I was in West Texas. Do you know how big a football stadium is? 50,000, 70,000 people? And how many people are coming through a month?
Whole towns would be around.
Your towns would be flooded. And that didn't happen. So it's a movie, my friends. The best is yet to come. And everything's handled.
Yep. Jordan, I hate to cut you off, and I hope you'll come back on our show again. I love what you got to give us. Where can people follow you? Let me get rid of this banner.
Yeah. If you guys go to thebeacons.ai/jclark, I have all my socials there. I have a crypto collective group we just launched. Nothing like if you guys don't know what's going on, join the community. There's about 400 people already, and it's just all of us having a good time trying to learn the system. You guys have a testimony. You guys have a voice, and the only way this changes is us coming together. So
For sure.
prayer and faith.
Absolutely.
Again, Jordan,
Yeah.
thank you again for joining us, and I look forward to more of your insights.
I cannot wait. I'm going to hold you to it.
Thanks,
For
guys.
sure.
And
Thank you, man.
don't forget to stick around on the Patriots Prayer Network for some breaking news from the Raising Cane Show. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night. We'll see you next
God
week.
bless. Love y'all.
Yep. Thank you, Jordan.
Welcome to the Patriots Prayer Network. Here, we don't just play to your feelings. We're rooted in honesty, and our foundation is based on Christian values, conservative beliefs, and a no-holds-barred approach. So, if your feelings clash with reality, it's not reality that needs adjusting. Are you ready to be part of a movement that challenges the official narratives, confronts the overwhelming tide of misinformation, and calls out wrongdoing wherever we find it? If so, you're in the right place. See, truth is our compass, and God is our only judge. Right and wrong mean more to us here at the Patriots Prayer Network than right and left do, and a complacent blind acceptance of the status quo will not be found here. We do not believe things are this bad in our country merely by accident. So, we investigate and dive deep into each episode and tackle pressing issues head on. Many podcasts claim they're unfiltered, but we mean it here. Go to thepatriotsprayernetwork.com.